Episode 3 is called The Squire. And as we've seen in prior Game of Thrones TV shows, when there's a title within the title, it probably refers to multiple people. That said, this is not a sprawling cast, so there might only be two, Egg being one and Raymond Fossaway being the other major squire. It's possible there's more, we will certainly see, but those two are pretty straightforward guesses, and we know for sure Raymond's going to have a notable role in this episode based on the trailers and based on what's coming in the novella, what we would expect. This is certainly the episode that we would expect to see the most jousting. We saw the lead into the jousting at the end of episode 2, and then there's supposed to be a whole day full of it. Don't know how much we'll actually see, but we see some in the trailer, so we'll get some. I'm looking forward to getting some of that. And obviously the jousting during the trial is going to have more at stake. This should be pretty fun. Maybe a lead up to that. Maybe this is all a build up to a fight in earnest, right? We use this play fighting, except when Arian's involved, and then we'll get, some real fighting. We'll get to see some more familiar characters, and we'll see how what they do with that, how they adapt that. We're definitely going to get Arian this episode, more Tanzel as well, and that means both she and Sir Humphrey Harding will be doing some kind of I'm in massive pain and my career might be over thanks to this guy type acting, and Arian Targaryen being that guy serving sociopathic realness. We'll discuss what we're hoping for, some fun flashbacks, hopefully, and more Blackfire mentions as well, hopefully, and other things. All that and more on this preview episode of History of Westeros podcast. Hello and welcome back, everybody. It's Friday at 5:30 Eastern. Time for a quick preview of what we expect this weekend. We're here every 5:30 at Friday. Every 5:30 at Friday. Every Friday at 5:30 for these quick reviews. And of course, 6 o'clock Eastern on Mondays for our full reviews after watching the episodes. After this episode, head on over to twitch.tv /History of Westeros and catch me playing a Dunk and Egg game stream. Yeah, super fun, huh? Super chat from Corn Emperor. Support. Love you guys. We appreciate the support, and we love you guys too. Here's how the day begins in the novella, as this is like a little bit of something to maybe guess what's coming in the show. Quote,
"The first day of the tourney dawned bright and clear. Dunk bought a sack full of foodstuffs, so they were able to break their fast on goose eggs, fried bread, and bacon. But when the food was cooked, he found he had no appetite. His belly felt hard as a rock, even though he knew he would not ride today. The right of first challenge would go to knights of higher birth and greater renown, to lords and their sons, and champions from other tourneys."
So as you might be able to tell, this scene actually happens before the first joust in the novella. So because the show has the night jousting to kick it off with the otherwise same setup, there's a little bit of an in-between here, and that's what we're getting. So we have this still of Dunk holding 2 goose eggs. So that was in the quote. That seems to fit perfectly. Goose eggs, fried bread, and bacon. That sounds pretty good. So there's that trailer scene where they're taking a bite simultaneously of something. They keep showing it. It's very cute, and there's a good chance that's what we're getting here. He's out shopping for a meal specifically, so that would be a little different since Dunk in the book here can't get an appetite, but maybe they just changed that. Anyway, there's also a shot of them.
Beautiful egg, though.
It's the gigantic yolk. I guess goose eggs are bigger. Yeah,
like so vibrantly yellow. It's a beautiful egg.
We've got multiple beautiful eggs in this one. So there's also a shot of them in the rain. It's also rainy in the novella. They talk about the spring rains swelling the streams, and that's where Maekar's sons are missing because of that reason. Yeah, well, So it's actually like misty / overcast on the day of the trial. So, they may have tweaked this weather a little bit, but not a big change regardless of what that happens to play out as. Dunk, remember, he told Lionel that he has to win. He can't just do well. He can't just accept that it's a honor to test himself against a worthy foe. That's something that privileged people can do. He has to win or he loses everything. That happens in episode 1 of the show. He has that thought basically at this point in the novella, the equivalent point. So pretty much very similar. We could see there. So let's talk a little bit about the actual jousting. In the novella, what we get after the 5-on-5 is 3 new challengers, and that's how it works. That's the tournament format, in other words. You have the 5-on-5 to kick it off, and then individuals get to tap on the shield of one of the 5 current champions, and then they have their match, and if the challenger wins, then they become one of the 5 champions, taking the place of the defeated. Certainly that's how it worked in the novella. It appears to be the same here. We have what looks like Lord Gorman Peak going up against Humphrey Harding. I have to pause before saying Humphrey Harding to make sure I'm not going to say Harold. And of course, from the trailer shot, it looks like Humphrey Harding wins, and that's to be expected since he is the most impressive performer of day 1 in the novella, and that's not unlikely to be the case in the show as well. So the 3 new challengers that we see in the novella are Lord Pierce Caron, Sir Joseph Mallister, and Lord Gawain Swan. So that's 2 Marcher Lords and a Knight of the Riverlands. These are all houses known for defending against dangerous foes, either Dornish raiders or Ironborn raiders. Egg cheers on Lord Caron against Leo Longthorn, which I wonder if that says something about what side Lord Caron was on in the Blackfire Rebellions, because Longthorn sat out. The Tyrells kind of sat out till the last. They joined like at the end when it was kind of too late to matter. So I can see why Egg would be, against Lord Longthorn there. Dunk actually notices that Lord Gawain is really old and is paired against Valar. So it's another example of Valar getting soft played here. So we'll see if any of that is part of that as well. Whatever action we might see, maybe we'll see those 3 guys. Maybe they'll do some other version of that. Who knows? But I do think we're going to get, before the day's action, we're getting Egg. These scenes we've seen throughout both trailers and teasers of him working on being a squire. Because yes, Dunk is nervous. He's got anxiety. So does Egg. That's something that's not necessarily a big theme of the novel, but they're doing it here in the show. I think it's a very good choice. It makes Egg gives him a little more character development. You get in his head a little more. Dunk has a chance to maybe to interact with him over these topics. So we have him here pulling on Thunder. He's got the sword in the, the sword is there on Thunder's saddle. So he's in the trailer. We see things like him spinning around and running with the sword and running with the lance. And I guess this is what we didn't know what this was in the trailer, but now we have context from it. From the end of the last episode, he was feeling very unsure of himself, whether he was capable of carrying these big weapons, of handing them to Dunk, of managing the horse. So it makes sense that first thing next day, he gets up and works on it, which is, I think, what we're seeing here. I believe a good chunk of the episode will be the show's version of this quote.
For the rest of the morning and well into the afternoon, it was more of the same, as challengers took the field in 2s and 3s, and sometimes 5 together. Trumpets blew, the heralds called out names, war horses charged, the crowd cheered, lances snapped like twigs, and swords rang against helms and mail. It was, small folk and high lord alike agreed, a splendid day of jousting. Sir Humphrey Harding and Sir Humphrey Beesbury, a bold young knight in yellow and black stripes with 3 beehives on his shield, splintered no less than a dozen lances apiece in an epic struggle the small folk soon began calling the Battle of Humphrey. So wouldn't this be Humphrey Beesbury, not Gorman Peak as you supposed?
Is that... No, that's not, that doesn't look like the beehives on a shield. That looks like...
It just is yellow and black and could look like it enough to me. I couldn't
guess
say
it could
strongly. Based on seeing him in motion, I couldn't say one way or another.
I remember zooming in on that and thinking it was Gorman Peak before, or Peak, Knight of House Peak. And we know Gorman Peak was there given the... Yeah, those are towers, not bees, right? I could be wrong. Anyway, that's a good thing to look into. We definitely had several moments of one-on-one jousting from the trailers. What we don't have is sword fighting. We only have maybe a little of that in the trailers, and that's explicitly during the trial. So,
well, for what it's worth,
yeah.
I think Beesbury is like yellow on black, and Peak is black on yellow.
Okay, this looks a little more black, but
it looks like it's yellow on a black back. You know, like it's yellow beehives on a black backdrop.
Could
not
be.
black tower, not black castles on a yellow backdrop. If that makes sense to you,
it does.
We'll see. But we'll see. Ultimately.
I thought, I couldn't remember if we saw his pavilion when we saw that shot of Harding riding out, which we've seen in the trailer several times. Whether there's because I know Lionel Baratheon's pavilion's there and Valar's is there. Anyway, yeah, maybe we'll figure that out at the time. But like I was saying about the sword fighting, obviously that's what it says here in the quote, that they also continue after the jousting. They continue on foot. That also happens in the 5-on-5. In the book version. We obviously did not have sword fighting in the show version of that, and we didn't have anything in the trailer. So I'm guessing they're just continuing with that. We will not have sword fighting, only jousting. But maybe I'll be wrong. It'd be kind of fun if I was. I wouldn't mind seeing some sword fighting. We don't have trailer shots of Humphrey versus Aerion in the novella. That's, quote, late in the day, after a lot of jousting has already happened, after Sir Humphrey has established himself, I suppose, as the front runner. We do have one that's close, though, because we have Aerion, it looks like mid-joust, mid-charge. It's kind of hard to imagine what else he's doing here. So we have, we should have that shot.
Yeah, dude. I was trying to find that one picture you were talking about. I got distracted.
We know in the book he at first makes for Valar and looks going to be dramatic, but then laughs and goes over to Harding. And, of course, in the book, he says, come out, little knight. It's time you face the dragon. And that line is in one of the trailers. It's not over that scene, but they do that all the time with trailers. They put the voiceovers over different scenes. So that doesn't really mean much. So here's the shot of the knights at their pavilions, the champions. So we got Valar, then Humphrey Harding, who's mounting up to go. And then then the two, it looks like Ashford's, which is right. There would be Ashford champions. So I'm not sure. It's hard you can't see whether Humphrey Beesbury is there or not, but he could also be on the right. You know what I mean? So anyway, we'll hopefully get clarification during the episode. Here is Aerion, as we said, looking really cool. It's the only time I'll ever compliment Aerion, probably. But because that is really sweet armor. It's up there with the most sinister armors we've ever seen, probably. Like, I feel like this is in the vein of the Nazgul or Sauron's armor from the movies, Lord of the Rings movies, but way more extra. You know, there's way more like fancy stuff attached to it. But the overall design reminds me of that. Look at the dragon helmet for the horse. That is just really cool. So we should get them having their unfortunate, to put it mildly, encounter there, and we had a sad horse moment last episode with Sweetfoot being sold. We'll have a gruesome one most likely here. You all know what Aerion's going to do to Humphrey's horse. Most likely that happens. And then we have Humphrey breaking his leg, which that might be really gruesome too. Maybe not so bad because the horse lands on his leg and maybe you can't see it because it's under it. That's often how that goes. But he'll certainly be like yelling and the horse is supposedly going to be screaming. So yeah, prepare yourselves for that, y'all. But on the happy note, all right, okay, so good stuff, right? We have another laughing storm party. We weren't sure when this scene was going to be last week, but now we do. It's for this week for sure. It's in episode 3. We have Lionel shirtless with Sir Manfred dancing behind him. Looks like they're singing. And it's during the day. So they're partying during the day. That suggests that they've been up all night partying, or they started early, or maybe both. Either way, it's more just outrageous, behavior from Sir Lionel, just going full bore on everything he does that we've seen. Enjoying that. So a couple of pieces of news from the back end here from Ira Parker and other sources that we want to throw out there. We'll have opportunity to discuss this at other points as well, but this is a good time to bring it up, at least for now. Esquire asked Ira Parker, well, there's only 3 novellas. Are you thinking then 3 seasons? And what Ira said was, I hope George keeps writing these. The truth is, and I've pitched this to HBO with a couple very polite eye rolls. I want to do 4 or 5 now with Egg as a kid. Then I want to come back in 10 years and do 4 or 5 more seasons with Egg the Prince. And with real Dexter and real Peter, just the age that they are at that point. Then we'll come back 10 years after that and do Egg the adult. So he's got this vision for 20 years worth of filming, not 20 years straight, obviously, but different periods spread out over more than 20 years, but mapped out how this could be done. And he obviously, HBO, from what he said there, wasn't necessarily on board for that, but success will give him a lot more clout in not in the ear, but in making decisions for the future of the show. If he's doing really well, if they're making money, then of course they're going to say they'll be more open to ideas that maybe they normally aren't so open to. So we'll see. It's exciting that we have a decent chance at all of getting more than 3, which is what a lot of us assumed was kind of the reasonable hope. Beyond 3, because even if they do go beyond 3, would it even be good? Do we want that? Early returns, I would say yes. Before I was like, I don't know. Now I'm saying yes, but it's still kind of early. So, yeah, we appreciate y'all coming here to hang out with us during these reviews and throw in your 2 cents or just hear what we have to say. If you want to support us on Patreon, hit us up there at patreon.com/History of Westeros and sign yourself up for a level that makes sense for you. Get voting rights on our episodes that are coming this year and in future years. And, of course, bonus episodes. Trey Mackey weighs in here in the chat and says, Finn Bennett said in an interview that they scanned his face to make the mask look like him. Oh, very cool. Great detail. I definitely didn't know that. And that's the kind of thing they can do these days with the mask. That's pretty cool because that's almost certainly not an actual metal mask. They just made it look metal. So I guess it's some sort of 3D printed thingy. That's pretty cool. We have this shot of Egg up in a tree and maybe he's, hiding from some creatures on the ground that are wanting to eat eggs. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what he's doing up there, but it's a cute little pose he's in. Is he sharpening a stick or something there?
Yeah, he's whittling.
He's whittling. Okay. That's nice.
A whittle egg is whittling.
So that, that could be anything, some sort of conversation. And we're definitely looking forward to conversations between Dunk and Egg. They have great conversations and we haven't really gotten to the meat of that yet. Certainly we've seen some build up with that. The first episode is mostly just like exchanges. I wouldn't call them conversations. Second episode, they start to get into that, but they're still kind of getting to know each other. Egg obviously likes Dunk a lot. Dunk is not sure about Egg in terms of, can I keep him? Things like that. So they haven't gotten to be the true Dunk and Egg that we know because they haven't become a pair yet. Like they're in that almost there state right now. So I'm looking forward to them getting all the way there. There's this shot of Plumber. I don't know what's going on here. He's standing there, with Lord Ashford behind him. So this could just be tournament business. This might be nothing. But there's this one where they're together, him and Dunk, like out in the woods. And that's a little curious, right? Maybe my best guess here is remember from before, what Plumber was concerned about and what Lord Ashford was concerned about, which was, Valar and the princes and making sure that they win the acclaim, the favor from the royal family that they were kind of hoping for. That was a big part of this. So maybe he's just like, hey, naive kid, don't go beating a prince or something like that. Don't go beating, maybe he's not worried about some of them, but don't, challenge a prince or anything like something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of a hedge knight winning might be the kind of embarrassment that they're just trying to avoid. So that's my best guess here. It really could be a lot of other things, but that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, I'd be curious to see what that one is because it's definitely not in the novel, whatever it is. Now we have Apple Time. Now, this is almost certainly in the Fossaway tent because, look, there's a stack of apples right there.
He looks so like majestic and proud.
He's like, look at our apples. Yeah, this is like our
at peace. I don't
We're so proud of our apples. Yeah, they're really leaning into the apple imagery with these guys, and not just the imagery, but the words too, right? With the puns and everything. Yeah, these guys are all apples all the time. And we also know that there's an actual scene with Dunk and Raymond speaking in the Fossaway tent in the book. So this makes a lot of sense. And goodness gracious, the size difference in these two in a picture like this, right? Really sends that home. Like, man, Peter Claffey's just a lot larger than... Wait, what's this actor's name again? Do you remember? Sean Thomas. Yeah, I like this guy. He's definitely in the running for my favorite non-Dunk and Egg actor for the whole course of the season.
Well,
Obviously, Daniel Ings is doing quite well, too.
I'll tell you that when I look at like social media stuff, sometimes they do those like red carpet interviews and little cute little interviews with the cast members. The other cast seems to love Sean Thomas too, because regularly, like they were talking about who's the truest knight, and they're like Sean, like they all named him. I think he's a dad, and they respect that or something. I've gathered that there's a number of things that they all admire in him, but it was like Dexter and Peter and like some Finn Bennett. I think multiple people brought him up. I also saw a series of little interviews where they had Finn Bennett paired with Sean Thomas for it, and they were talking about what all their nicknames were, and so that was kind of cute too. There's a lot of good promo material out right now.
Well, that definitely just makes me like him even more. Yeah, heck yeah. All right. So as I said, this is definitely a scene we know from is in the book, so it's probably pretty similar. It's an important scene. It's basically the scene that sets up the reveal. This is what's going on, at least in the novel version, when Egg runs in right as Raymond is listing off Makar's kids. In the book version, right? It's like, oh, it's this one. It's Daron is the drunkard or the sot or whatever he says. Arian's vain and cruel. The next one was so useless they shipped him off to the Citadel to be a maester. Of course, we know that's Aemon. And then, as he's about to say the fourth one, Egg runs in. Right, that's what happens in the novel. So probably they're going to do something like that or exactly like that. That'd be really cool. And also we know in the trailer we get a split second of Raymond calling the Targaryens incestuous aliens, which is.
They're incestuous aliens, Duncan. Like, that's so good.
It's so good. This guy's just crushing it. So that's a great line too. That's not in the novel, but it's I mean, they are incestuous. That's a valid opinion you would think exists in Westeros. Like people would agree with that. Well, they are incestuous, and they, given the span that Westeros has been a thing, 209 years is not that long compared to the thousands of years that like the Fossaways and some of these other houses have been there. So yeah, I can see why they're still calling them aliens. So this is all probably related to this part of the novella, a conversation between Dunk and Raymond. Quote,
"Don't look so anxious, Sir Duncan. There's none here but us. It is no secret that Arian is a bad piece of work. Thank the gods that he is well down in the order of succession."
"You truly believe he meant to kill the horse?"
"Is there any doubt of it? If Prince Makar had been here, it would have gone differently, I promise you. Arian is all smiles and chivalry so long as his father is watching, if the tales be true. But when he's not..."
And in between that, there's lots of denial. And I mean from Makar, kind of in a Tywin-esque way, where Tywin just refuses to see what's going on with his kids. Or Jaime and Cersei in particular. He oversees what, he sees too much in what Tyrion's doing. So yeah, Makar we've already seen him be in denial about Daron, and then we know he's in denial about Arian as well. And part of that, though, is Arian leans into that. He sees that his father is in denial, and so he acts good and nice when his father's around so that his father can continue to live in that state of denial. In the book, Egg avoids Raymond's gaze and pulls his hood up, if I remember correctly. We do have a shot of Duncan, Egg, and Raymond during daytime as well. I don't think I asked you to pull that one. I don't know if you even have it ready. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So he doesn't have his hood up here. So, but I'm guessing he obviously doesn't go into the tent with them because then they can't do the scene the same way. They won't be able to talk about it would be so different, and you don't see him in there. So, And in the novel, he invites him in for wine. You know, it would be, it's basically Egg goes to the puppet show while they're doing this. It's probably pretty similar here. And we know that.
I'd even be like, why are you bringing this child? We're drinking.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're going to go have a drink. So we do have that shot that you just flipped through where Egg is seemingly at the play while with his hood up now. And that might be, the hood up is maybe partly because we know we have Arian comes in and maybe he sees Arian and pulls his hood up.
And we know it's been raining.
Oh, yeah, it's been raining too. So there's just logical reason to have your hood up anyway. So let's just remember ourselves, set ourselves up for what's very likely coming here with how George wrote this scene. Let's have that quote too real quick. Actually, no, I already read this. Basically read this part. Let's just skip that. Let's just skip that. We'll go straight to Arian here. Let's just do that. We have Dunk's no chance, no choice moment. There's some shots of it, so we know it's coming. It's in the trailer. Arian's watching the play. She's got the Serwyn costume on, and she's looking fearful, which is like, well, who else is she going to be afraid of in costume? It's got to be Arian, right? I don't know, unless something very seriously has changed. This has changed a bit from before. Dunk and Egg watch her do Nymeria earlier on than this, and then later they're doing the dragon part. So after the gruesome horse and leg scene, we're going to have these broken fingers, which is even in the trailer. We know from the trailer he's breaking her finger in this episode. So that's definitely all happening. And then presumably it just calls all the same from there from the novel. Egg runs away to get Dunk. Dunk comes in. They have their scuffle. And then right as Dunk is about to have horrible things happen to him at Arian's hands, Egg runs in and puts a stop to it and reveals who he is. That's the book version. I've been predicting that's how this episode ends since the beginning. It's not that hard to guess when you lay it all out. So, we'll see if that's true. It seems very likely given the trailer. Unfortunately, the only negative thing here is this would be the end of Tanzel. Not the end of her life, obviously, but in the novel, she runs away after this, like smartly, like wisely, I would say, cuts and runs rather than either face more from Arian. You never know, right? She doesn't know that he's not going to come back and do more. And not see the awful things happen to Dunk that are likely to happen because he punched a prince, probably repeatedly, because that's what happens in the novel. So, yeah. So hopefully that's one thing. They might change that. That would be maybe too big of a change, but of all kinds of things to change, I wouldn't mind it too much, depending on how they do it. But probably she's just going to be gone after this.
I think if they changed it, it would be one scene.
Yeah, maybe see her leaving.
Yeah, like that's it. Yeah,
it wouldn't be anything big. Yeah, I agree with you. That makes sense. No confirmed flashbacks from this one, but we have all kind of guessed that there's going to be flashbacks every episode. It seems like they're going that way, so we'll see. Who knows? There's a lot of possibilities there. Dunk, Egg, new characters, who knows? I would also say that the tone's going to shift a bit. It's still going to be funny, probably, especially this episode, because it doesn't get dark till the end. But at the end of the episode, Arian does his thing, and then from there, it's just much more serious. And I wonder how they're going to handle that. Like, is it going to continue are they going to continue to squeeze in as much comedy as they can to keep that going? Or are they going to lean more into, oh, this is actually pretty serious now? We'll see. I'm very excited to see how they cover it, in part just because of how good they've done so far. Any last comments, Ashaya?
I'm excited that Tansel is in fact Serwyn. We were right in our initial analysis of early trailers, and we just got tricked by her not being Serwyn in one of the performances. It's minor, but it feels vindicated to be like, okay, no, we weren't like seeing nothing there. And she looks great. She does.
You still have a chance to sign up to join the World Science Fiction Society for $50. You get membership. And you get every single book that's nominated, all the art that's nominated. It's a lot for $50, and you can help us get on the ballot for Best Related Work Worldcon Hugo Awards 2026, January 31st. So if you're catching this right at the end here, then you've still got time. The link will be in the description, and we will see you all on Monday for our full episode review. As the season continues, we can't wait to discuss the full episode of The Squire with you all. Thanks to Bran for his excellent new video intro. A lot of y'all have given us great feedback on that, which we passed on to him, and we'll continue the season with that in place. On behalf of Ashaya, I'm Aziz. Valar Reedus. Oh, and come check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv, History of Westeros.